How much of your love for Kingdom Hearts influenced the casting of Haley Joel Osment as the lead character in Dogs in Space? All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome once again. We are here live at the DoPL Arcade. It is episode, I want to say like 32 of Dire Pass Level. Proud and excited. It's been an awesome 2025 and really excited about what's to come in the future. TDK, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Yeah, 30-something episodes. That's incredible. Congratulations. And also, I'm proud. And I didn't even do them all. I've had a really good time on this thing. And today's a good one. Like, what an epic guest to start 2026 with.
Yeah, I know him just a little bit. Actually, I was thinking earlier today, I've known this guy for more than half of my life at this point, which is crazy. My freshman year in high school, we became friends, went down the gaming rabbit hole. That's probably how it all started. Talented artists and just a creator and creative type ever since I've known him. Fast forward to my dad era, and I come across a dude named Brandon who works at Netflix. Pitched him my buddy who is here today and told him that he has some great ideas and maybe he could pitch a show to Netflix. Jerry took this meeting, his first pitch ever, and got a production deal and started an amazing show titled Dogs in Space. You might have watched it. If you haven't, please watch it in the future. It's awesome. Jeremiah Cortez, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Ray?
I'm good, man.
Jerry, good to see you, man.
Good to see you. How are you?
I learned a little bit in that intro. I didn't realize that was your first pitch ever. Like, I know that you created a very successful TV show called Dogs in Space that I'm a huge fan of. And I knew you did it with Netflix, which is crazy to say out loud. People we know don't do that. But I didn't know that you just took a swing in the major leagues on the first pitch and hit a home run. What was the feeling of walking into the Netflix headquarters and pitching your TV show? Also, why did you even have a TV show?
I've always been in the realm of animation. I can't remember a time where that wasn't the goal. Very, very early on. I know my dad taught me like how to draw Snoopy and stuff like that. I learned very early on that the cartoons I was watching were done this way. People were drawing frame by frame and they move really fast. And, you get the example of a flip book. And from there, I was like, I want to do cartoons. I've always been writing stories and worlds and stuff like that. I met Ray in high school freshman year. We were best friends pretty much like that first week. Just kept working on stuff. Ray was then someone that I would like pitch stuff to and get like feedback on, and went to college for a while. I kept taking like the same classes over and over and over just because student waivers helped out with just being able to allow me to stay there, until my instructors sat me down and said, we taught you everything we can teach you. You got to move on. You can't keep doing this. So from there, they're like, you got to go to a private school, get an actual art degree in animation and get out there already. I went to Laguna College and it was grueling. In that senior year, we were very much doing like 12-hour days. We lived in those little workrooms that we had for the seniors to do their animated films, right? We all had our own little designated computers set up. And you go from like these huge 12-hour days, you finish that last scene, instantly you have nothing else to do. It freaked me out a little bit. So I had this little dumb idea of like these space dogs. It was just a way of like getting out of story structure. I just want to tell a story that has no rhyme or reason to it. I'm aching to do some animation. So I did a little pencil test of the main character, the garbage. He turns to the camera and he waves. And I did this just real quick pencil test. And then I started getting all these responses like, this is so cool. My peers started reaching out too, who just graduated as well, feeling the same kind of weird feeling. They're like, hey, I want to help. What can we do? You can ink it, you can color it, you can do a background. And then we just had like this one clip, fully animated, colored, and he turns the camera and he waves. From there, they wanted to do more. I was like, let me do a trailer, as if like this was a real trailer you would see on TV. Now I had to come up with a premise. What is this story about? What was the rules to how these dogs were even out here? And why? The premise is dogs in space. What's the heart of this show? It's the dogs. They don't belong in space. It's the funniest title in the world because it doesn't track. These are genetically enhanced space astronaut dogs going out to find a new planet for Earth, but they never asked for this, and ultimately they're just dogs who just want to go home to their owners.
I love the kind of ragtag, and not even so ragtag because you're all professionals, but spirit of creation that you were doing this with. Because it sounds like at this point, there is no deal. You're just doing this for the love of animation. When you're doing this with your friends and you're like, okay, let's create this trailer, Are you imagining you'll then take that and you'll go start pitching? Or are you just kind of like, I need this to survive because this fulfills me?
It was to get my wiggles out. It was just something I needed to do. Well, that's the name of the game with this industry is once you're done with a production, you're out of a gig. You have to find the next thing to work on. But that was just my way of feeling connected still to the spirit of the animation industry. Obviously, we all have ambitions and stuff. So hypothetically, if I ever get a chance to pitch, I want to have a show, right?
Yeah.
Luck is preparation opportunity. So these are the two of the least favorite things that I would like to do. There's an animal-based cast, specifically dogs, and then sci-fi. I wasn't like a big sci-fi person. I didn't want to get emotionally invested to it. So I picked like the two least favorite things
That's
that
funny.
so now I had to like retro learn sci-fi. I was like, okay, well, if this is a sci-fi show, what kind of sci-fi? What are the rules? Doctor Who? What are we doing? Like Star Wars? Are we Star Trek? I think I'm more Star Trek than Star Wars. This is gonna be too magic-y. I didn't want to like have it too loose. And so I had to learn all of Star Trek, which was like at the time, nails on a chalkboard. I think every episode was like 40 minutes too long. I just had it on in the background while I'm typing up my characters, drawing like designs and concept art. Oh, that was a cool idea. Let me keep that. Oh, that was kind of dumb. I didn't like that. They should have done it this way. Let me make sure never do that with that kind of a logic or whatever. Just figuring out what kind of sci-fi works and what doesn't work and what I want to incorporate and lose completely or learn from, I guess. It took about 2.5 years. Came up with a solid pitch Bible. Most pitch Bibles for like say SpongeBob or like Adventure Time, you're looking at maybe 10 pages. Yeah, it's 48 pages. I had to like write all the logic of how this mothership works. How do these exploration ships go out to look for planets? And why are we just following this particular exploration ship crew?
You said that you chose specifically like animal based and sci-fi because you weren't into those things and you want to challenge yourself. And also you were thinking of it as like a side project. Like, I'm not going to get too invested in this. But when I think of Dogs in Space, as a consumer, as a fan, I think very emotional forward, very emotional characters, and it's all about the dynamic of those characters. My question is, did you always lean toward the emotional character development side of things, whether it was dogs or space or humans? Because it seems like you tried to get away from it and you couldn't because it was so integral to this, which is what makes it so good.
Character development is always like the forefront. You're not gonna really like feel a whole lot if you're not really invested in these characters. If I can find some kind of connection, hopes, fears, insecurities, phases in life, like I didn't like myself in my early 20s. I was this way. I need this character to kind of be that way.
Are you garbage now, but you were Ed in your 20s?
What's funny is I think all of them have a portion of me. The idea was if I'm going to give myself to this pitch Bible for years, right? Like I didn't know how long this was going to take me. It took me 2.5 years. When I was writing that pitch Bible, like I said, it was very much pie in the sky. I was writing the characters with actors already in mind. Chris Parnell was always Ed. That's how I pitched Ed.
I don't think I've ever asked you this. How much of your love for Kingdom Hearts influenced the casting of Haley Joel Osment as the lead character in Dogs in Space?
That was just a happy accident, to be honest. That might be like my top game. Such a stark contrast of two different IPs and then making a game together with an amazing story still was insane. Such a improbable thing that actually happened, and it was good. This is the craziest Haley Joel Osment Jeremiah like destiny weaving thing is that Haley Joel Osment influenced me in creating Captain Garbage, which then he became the voice of later, and I had no intention of that happening. One day we were recording and something like, oh crap, I watched AI because I needed to figure out how do you play desperateness in a character's hesitance or impulsivity as far as like how desperate that child AI wanted to get back to his mother in that movie. Where we're doing auditions. Haley Joel Osment comes in there and I go, oh, cool, Sora's here. He goes into the sound booth, he does his thing. He nailed it. And I was just, cool. I think we're actually going to go with Haley on this.
While he was in the booth, ask him to say, Thunder!
No. You know what? I don't know if I ever brought up Kingdom Hearts, just out of like, I don't want to bug him or be a weirdo about it.
I have one question that I've been asking Ray this. I've been telling him I want to ask you about it. And I think because you guys were both there for the experience, it's easy to like gloss over parts of it. But what does it feel like when you're in that room? You worked 2.5 years on this specific project. You have now finally an opportunity to pitch it to one of like the leaders in the industry, arguably the number one place you would want to be at, especially at that time. And you're like, this is my shot. Don't mess it up. Are you crazy nervous? Like when they say yes, are you just literally jumping? Like, what is that like? Play it cool, play it cool, play it cool.
No, it's not even playing it cool. It was playing it very realistic. When Netflix called me, they're like, hey, we want to buy the show. I was like, okay, cool. What's the next steps then? Later on, they told me, they're like, we were really surprised on how you responded. Like I said, this is my whole life. So I researched pitching way before I even pitched. Just in that, I knew already the production pipeline and the structure and culture of it all. And I knew just because they bought it and it goes into development, absolutely does not mean it's greenlit for a show. It could just go in development limbo forever. So when they called and they said they wanted to buy it, I knew that just meant it goes into development. You'll make a choice on green lighting it later. I don't think I got really excited until Dogs in Space actually aired.
I can tell you the moment for me when I was like, oh my God, it's happening. Is you sent me the just quick clip of how the show opens with the characters flying across on their spaceship screaming. And then it says a Netflix series. Oh shit. Game changing moment for me.
Obviously, this is clearly the brainchild of Jeremiah, but also yours truly, Ray, did the composing on this show. Like you actually worked at Netflix as well, and you composed music for this show, I think over the course of its whole run, or maybe more in the second season. How did that play out?
Yeah, one of those things too where I made this connection for Jeremiah. He told me he got a production deal, and I was really obviously excited for him. At the same time, I'm like, man, I would really love to make the music for your show. Back then, you know, in my naivety, I kind of thought like, well, he got the show. All he has to do is tell them he wants me to do the music, and then I'm doing the music, so I'm in. Obviously it worked out, right? He played it really well and kind of nudged the notion in here and there. They had faith in what I could do, but at the same time, it was my first thing of that magnitude, and so they were nervous. The best they could do was pair me with a composer by the name of Matt Mahaffey, who's done like TMNT, and he's done a bunch of stuff. He's just like a veteran of the game, and he basically mentored me to compose, eased me in, and I kind of did, I would say I did like maybe 40% of season one, and like there were times where he'd be like, nice try, I'm tagging in, this is what I do. And then I'd listen back and be like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. By the time season 2 rolled in, Matt's a beast. So he's getting more shows as Dogs in Space is happening. And so it kind of turned into like, I think you've got it, dude. Why don't you just kind of tackle season 2? And whenever you think I'm really needed, just tag me in. I think I composed, I don't know, 80-ish% of season 2, which I'm like super proud of. Still one of the funnest jobs I've ever had. I've done a couple of more shows since then, but Dogs in Space and Matt and Jerry and Adam Henry and those calls that we were on, it was just such a fun and good time hanging out with everybody.
You guys really did something special. Like, could you imagine being like best buddies with somebody and being like, we're both really great baseball players, and then actually playing on the Yankees together? You guys did that.
To Jerry's credit, he never lost sight of how much of a miracle that was. And like, he'd kind of just every once in a while tell me while we were doing it, dude, we're doing it. Like, this is crazy. I'm like, yeah, you're right. This is crazy. Want to talk a little bit about what you're working on now?
You know, the industry is what it is right now. There's no real sugar coating it. It's a little tough out there. The streaming dynamic that is now coming into play, AI also coming into play now, studios merging and becoming a little bit more consumer focused as far as just real fast digestible stuff with not a whole lot of meat to the stories. It's more algorithm driven for the most part. It's becoming a little cookie cutter because everyone's following a structure. And if the algorithm's looking at other things that are now produced because of algorithms, then it's a feedback loop. It's just going to regurgitate the same thing, and it's going to see it as truth. As far as the whole, playing for the Yankees and stuff, it is true. And I need to let myself have that every once in a while. And I was always animation driven. Ray was always music driven. I joined bands and learned music and was in garage bands with Ray. Almost 2 decades of us playing in garage bands together. One of our bands almost getting to Capitol Records. That was crazy.
I mean, that's why probably you didn't believe that Dogs in Space was gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we're doing Warped Tour. They told us we're doing Warped Tour. Fast forward 3 months later, and your friends are like, "What happened to that Warped Tour thing you were talking about?"
Whatever happened to that show with Netflix? I didn't want that. I think it was Batgirl, Batwoman. I'm not sure how they titled that movie. It finished, and it'll never air because the studio took the tax write-off instead. Anything could happen all the way to the end.
But you said it, like, you got to let yourself have it. In hindsight, like, you did play on the Yankees, and the older I get, the more I realize that you don't get to keep anything. You get to have things for a time, and those things are beautiful. I think the first time you have something, you just think you'll have it forever, and then you get something else that's beautiful, and then you're going to lose that, and then it just becomes like, oh, how lucky was I that I even got to have those things in the first place?
Because I'll be honest, man, when Dogs finished and there was no hints of another season, the industry started getting a little rough. I'm doing pitches, but nothing's really sticking. You had your dream gig. Logically, I should have known Dogs was eventually going to end at some point. No series goes on forever. And I'm not going to be like in my 80s when it ends. It's going to end relatively soon. I didn't prepare myself for what that would feel like when it ended. There was like a deep depression for like 3 years, as far as just like, I'm just going to chug along and do my thing. But when I'm on my own, yeah, it was a little tough.
You're been there, man. That's hard to deal with. And good for you for like starting your own studio, and you're going to have something beautiful again.
Speaking to your art style and inspiration, I actually wanted to ask you, in the world of video games, was there any video game art style or aesthetic that inspired your work?
I tend to go towards the magic side of things. I really like the swords and daggers and spells of things, specifically Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. That one I have 100 and something hours logged in still. I have a little, like, the Game Boy, the micro. I have the micro. That one I really, really loved. And then even to like the stories I tell now, Possum Wizard is one that we have. It's very much in the Middle Earth world. So it's just something I really, really, really love.
Jerry has a giant book of just swords, I think, right? It's like all different kinds of swords, and they're super creative. I'm just wondering if you've ever looked into like being a weapon designer or something for a video game. Dude, I want to equip all of these.
Yeah, it's just one of those things to where I would have to give it the time, take a few months, draw up a lot of really good sketches, make a portfolio, then go out and pitch. So it becomes like this give and take. If I'm writing this pitch Bible and I'm running this over here and I'm working on this animated project here and I'm typing up this thing over here, do I have enough space to then portfolio for a prop designer? It's one of those things as an artist, you're just kind of cursed in picking and choosing because you can go in a lot of different directions.
I find concept art really beautiful. For instance, for Uncharted, like you get this really beautiful kind of overgrown lost city with a little what will become Nathan Drake. It's just kind of an iconic looking hero type guy. I'm sure they painted it pretty large, and I would love to put that on my wall, right? Is that something you ever work with? What's the medium you'd like to work in?
My personal medium of choice is marker.
Marker. Explain to like the lay people why markers are good.
You guys know markers. You put a marker color down, it's not coming off. So you have to respect it, but they're pretty calm. They're like a beehive, I suppose. You could force them to do what you want, but you have to be a little calmer and they'll be a little more chill. Marker, I learned actually from Ray's brother, funny enough. Everything in my sketchbooks, pretty sure before I met Ray over here, it's colored pencils. And then once I met Ray's brother, he was about 2 years older than us or so. He was like this cool hip hop guy, listening to hieroglyphics, and he had like a turntable whole setup in his room, and like he was just a cool older brother. He had a sketchbook and he was more of a tagger, but he taught me like, look what these markers can do. Look at this, look at this. I remember like I would just be at Ray's house and they would be playing video games or something, and I'd just be on their bed with my sketchbook using Eric's markers.
Jerry, if you don't mind, I like to jump in the time machine a little bit and play a couple of sound effects that might trigger some feelings for you. I want you to tell me what this makes you think of and if you have any memories. Here's the first one.
That's, what would you call that, Ray?
That's like the bat.
It's from Ness, who had a bat as one of his moves in Smash Brothers. It was like his forward smash or something like that. Like you could charge it and he would wind up. And if you just timed it perfectly, and you had to hit like where the star was.
Maybe the most time I've spent with Jerry, grand total, has been playing Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers, yeah. outside of everything else, going to get lunch, hanging out, watching TV, going to movies, whatever, I'm pretty sure our lifespan together has been accumulated. Majority of it is playing Smash Brothers together.
The one of the 2 times I ever like ditched school was because there was a kid who said that he could beat me at Smash Brothers. He was like, my mom's giving me the green light. So he got permission from his mom. I can stay home and play video games with my friends. Parents allotted ditch day kind of thing. I didn't get that permission from my parents. They would not have allowed that to happen. So I had to just totally actually ditch school. So I got to school that morning. Jerry, Eloy, and Dennis were standing in front of the high school we went to. Waved to my mom goodbye, got our backpacks, and started walking over to Dennis's house, and I beat their asses.
Yeah. Good for you, Ray.
We went to another one, Ray, in downtown LA, I think it was, where like, I think they were just allowing people to play Brawl for the first time. It was like a theater.
The Orpheum Theater. The only thing was that the controllers were default settings, so like our buttons were not where they needed to be.
Oh, and it also wasn't the GameCube controllers. We had to use the Wii.
Oh, Wiimote.
It was so dumb. Like, let us use our GameCube controllers. We died just because we didn't know how to use those dumb controllers.
Here's the next one.
That's the Pikmin when they're idle.
Yeah, another game that you were just obsessed over is Pikmin.
Yep. Okay. Where's the Pikmin?
Oh, yeah?
There's a Pikmin right there, man. Another one right there.
Nice.
I need to get the rest of the colors. I haven't got them yet.
That's pretty cool. I had no idea you had Pikmin tattoos. That's awesome. What about Pikmin did you love so much?
It was a very like survival game, but very, very wholesome and cute, but like real stakes. You were like this stranded astronaut and you run into these plant animal creatures things. You would pluck them out of the floor like a carrot or something, and they would just follow you around like if you were their mom or something. Different whistles made them do different things. They would all line up together. They would all separate. When you mess up, it's on you. The Pikmin die because of you.
There's like a connection a bit with the Pikmin and this permanence that happens in Pikmin. Nintendo doesn't kill off characters, but in Pikmin, your Pikmin can die.
I think that's what hooked me to it. Was like I played it and I'm running around with these characters, and then this thing just came up and ate my guys, and you see these ghosts go up and your numbers on your screen go down. You're like, they're dead. You have to like quickly grasp the concept of, okay, this game, your characters can die. It shifts the whole responsibility of the whole, like the way you see the game. Once my first little Pikmin or a handful of Pikmin got chomped is when I was hooked. Oh, this is a way bigger game than I thought it was because there's a lot at stake. There's these little creatures that are putting their lives in your hands.
Maybe it's a bit of a reach, but I think you do have like a fondness for the permanence of your actions in your storytelling. Captain Garbage loses his role as captain at the end of season 1, and even in the theme song and the intro of the show, he's no longer in his captain suit. You're like, oh dude, he's really not Captain Garbage anymore. Something about that permanence I think you have like this connection with.
I really, really do. I like the idea that there's consequences and people need to know consequences rather than like, oh, everything works out regardless of anything. It only helps as far as storytelling. If you let your characters have consequences and there's things that play through permanently forever or until you figure out a way out of it, that helps you write the characters because they now have something to reflect on. That can now tell you how to write this character moving forward with the context of new experiences. You see him hesitate and then you go, oh yeah, it's because he's still hung up on his last mistake in this kind of a situation. I tend to want to go towards serialized more than episodic.
There's something special about shows like that, Regular Show and SpongeBob. They all have, their place in that. But the ones that I connect with and that I feel are the ones with the through line. X-Men 97 literally had me bawling my eyes out like I had lost a family member. Steven Universe got me too. Adventure Time, another example. They have their contained stories within the episode, but you're always moving along as you go with them and kind of growing with these characters.
It sounds like Jeremiah, like emotion is kind of the through line of your style and like your taste. Mm-hmm. And without that permanence, you probably can't have the emotion.
You could have somebody like really learn something in one episode, and then you get to the next episode, you're like, oh, I want to see like how that played out. And then you remember, oh, it's episodic and they're never going to reference that ever again. You go.
And then you almost feel cheated because you've went through an emotional experience and then that's erased. Since we're talking about SpongeBob and some of the stuff you like and don't like, what's your Mount Rushmore of animated shows?
That's a hard one. For sure, I would say Adventure Time is in that bracket no matter what. That one was the one that that unlocked something new in my brain. And you're like, okay, this is a cute story about this kid and this dog, and they're in this world and there's magic. And you watch it, cool. That was a funny episode. I want another one. They're 15 minutes. And then all of a sudden you start like, is that a street sign in the background? Why is there a street sign? Is that a car? Is that a dead skeleton guy in the car? What is this? It started cracking, and you started getting these hints of like, this story is not what it's pitching itself as. This world is lying to me, and the characters don't know it.
Definitely like a secretly dark show in a very whimsical world.
If you were put on paper, yeah, it's a very, very dark world that they had to deal with. That was one of those shows that I was like, you can do cartoons like this? You can do real stories? This is crazy. I want to do this kind of stuff. That's probably one of the top tiers. Regular show, because of the perfect example of like how to have one contained story go from like 0 to 100 within the first minute.
That show is 0 to 100, the cartoon.
Start off with something relatable. The goal is take it as far as you possibly can in any direction within the time given.
All right, 2 more on your Mount Rushmore.
The Simpsons, for sure. Like,
I was wondering if you'd go with that or Futurama.
Simpsons, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I want, as far as like a sitcom, animated, serialized, but still episodic. Things carry through, but you can reset anytime you want and also call back to whatever you want. The whole city of established characters that could play into, I need a cop for this episode. Like, you don't have to make up anybody. They're there already. The throwaway jokes that they get just because Nelson could come into a scene real quick and go, and then he leaves. Like, you didn't need logic as to, like, why was he in that scene? It's this nice, perfect blend of realistic, like, grounded physics, stories, consequences, all that stuff. But then, like, the dumbest things happen in there.
Those characters are so fleshed out. They get away with all that stuff. There's so many characters, and they're also all so memorable. I think we can all think of the entire cast of The Simpsons. We can all visualize it, right?
That's another level of a person's mind, as far as being able to come up with a whole well-structured universe of characters, and they all have catchphrases. They all have a very, very unique personality. Yeah, that's the gold standard. I don't think anything could ever be The Simpsons ever again. You just don't get that kind of writing anymore. You're so algorithm based. You have these structures that you have to play into if the paths are getting very narrow.
One spot left.
Just say it, Jerry. Dogs in Space.
You should put yours on there. With all the love and time you put into that.
BoJack? That was The Simpsons for real adults content watching. It was funny. It was grounded with still very surreal jokes, very weird, loose physics just for the sake of a gag in a certain scene or whatnot. The consequences, the choices, the emotions the characters were going through, the people they were when they were with some people, the way they were when they were alone, the way they presented themselves to a parent or a loved one, and they're putting on a performance right there. And then the real hard, ugly consequences and actions that these characters do, and they play out throughout the whole series. BoJack, all the way to the end, is still dealing with the consequences of what he did. If The Simpsons was like the gold standard, BoJack was the same recipe, just with like spice on it, like cayenne pepper or like ghost pepper or something like that. Yeah. If you really want to be real with like how life can be and still laugh at it, that was the show for you.
Something I've learned talking to you for the last little bit here is like, that there's those people in your life and you know them when you're young and you see them in high school and you see them in grade school even, and they just know who they are and they know what they want to do. Some of them follow that path, some of them don't, but it seems like they all have this kind of not self-assurance, but self-understanding. They're at peace with who they are because they know what they want to do in their life. And I've always thought that's a huge gift. And you're either born with that or you're not. I think that's more nature than nurture. But you certainly are one of those people. You got to be somebody who found a spark at a young age, already excelled at that spark, leaned into it, got success with it. Kudos to you, man. Like, you're really doing it. It's really, really cool to watch that.
I don't know if you have anything like that. I know Ray with music, even if you never make a dime on it ever again, you're still going to do it. You just can't turn it off at that point. And like you said, there's a little bit of like, I have to do this. Like, it's just part of the DNA of who I am. If I had the opportunity to move abroad and continue doing art or animation somewhere else, this industry doesn't pick up here, like, I would do that. I'm not gonna let the industry stop me from doing what I want to do. If I have to move, I'll move. If I have to do it say, starting up our own studio, Ray and I, along with a good 20 of us, Grizzly Jar Productions. Yeah, that's what we're doing as well. Is if I can't do this in an actual studio and it's not getting picked up for anything at the moment, might as well start the studio, find like-minded people that also can't stop what they want to be doing, and let's just collaborate. And hopefully one day this studio might be something, and we can just do what we want to do, and we don't have to answer to algorithms or anybody else to tell us what's a good story. We tell our stories. And so yeah, that's the hope. And yeah, I can't stop.
On that note, make sure to follow Grizzly Jar Studios. Check out some of the work we're doing on the YouTube, because we put out something, Blood Sword, which is news to me that we recently won a short film festival in New York somewhere. Cool. Like, all right, it's nice to know that, our work is getting out there.
Yeah, our first short, we been submitting into film festivals. We won Best Animated Short for a Group for the New York Short Film Festival a couple of weeks ago. So that was pretty cool.
All right. So, Jerry, last soundbite, speaking of permanence, right? And things that just last forever. This is one kind of piece of music that has never left me. Tell me if you remember this.
What? This is a game?
This is a game.
Can you do it again?
I don't know. This is
last time.
What
it sounds like a
game
DDR.
Is this one of those Dance Revolution, the DMX, or what was that one thing called?
Pump It Up DX or something like that. Me and you would ride our bicycles after summer school to go play. Yes.
It was just like a very cute Scott Pilgrim. You guys were both duo dancing on the thing. You know what I mean? Like
Pretty
Scott
much.
and Ramona.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Me and Jerry were in summer school. I think it was the bike with the pegs. One of us would pedal and the other one would stand on the back. The mall is not close to the school we were at. It was very far. I wanted to go to the mall initially because Marvel vs. Capcom 2 had not released on Dreamcast yet, and I just wanted to get my hands on that game every opportunity that I could, and that arcade had a cabinet. And so I convinced Jerry to let's go to the mall. It was probably under the guise of let's go to GameStop or something, because I knew Jerry could care less about Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I'm playing Marvel, I'm having a good time, but then there's this dance game over to the side that I think catches Jerry's eye first. We both put our tokens in, and we both kind of just get hooked. Not a thing that I feel like I would have ever gotten really into myself, but I kind of caught the bug and got decent at it. And all of a sudden, every day in summer school, me and Jerry would be like, dude, we're going back again. Are we going today? We were broke high school kids. Sometimes I only had enough for 2 tries of the game, $1. We'd ride our bikes for several miles, 45-minute ride just to play this game twice and go home.
Just shy of 4 miles.
One way? I'm more interested in the biking part. Those pegs are not forgiving.
I do think there was a lot of times where one was walking and the other two were on the bike. There was times where, there was a couple of us going. When you're a kid, you're just going from one task to the other.
Plus those joints are loose. Nobody really cares about the...
Yeah, I don't think your body's feeling anything.
I remember leaving that mall one day and the sun kind of being at sunset and being like, uh-oh.
Yeah, that game was so much fun because it wasn't Dance Dance Revolution where it was a cross. It was the corners and the center. They were just the funnest kind of songs to dance to.
I remember we did Take On Me quite a bit.
That's right.
I had some pop bangers, but that one.
I remember that. And there was this Beethoven one too.
Oh, that's right.
Super fast.
The juxtaposition of how badass I felt and how not badass I probably looked.
The outside of that arcade and just a mom holding a little girl's hand walking by. You can't even hear the music and we're just dancing and sweating in the background. No one else cared.
Good times, man. Good times. I think we're going to go ahead and end with that. We're going to say our goodbyes. If you're down in TDK, he's fast, I promise. I would love to see you do a quick speed drawing just to show this guy.
Draw whatever you want to draw. You're the pro.
Oh, yeah, draw or whatever. All 3 of us.
All right, here we go. This is us as Pikmin. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
So good.
Wow. We got to put that up.
Jerry, thanks so much for hanging out with us. As I've mentioned before, guys, check out Dogs in Space if you haven't already. It's a really good time. It's 2 seasons worth of awesome storytelling and just lovable characters. And check out Grizzly Jer Productions for what Jerry and I and a bunch of other awesome, talented people are working on now and in the future.
Good things to come.
Super fun to talk to you, Jerry. Thank you for making the time, man.
Oh, thank you guys. This was fun. It was nice to like remember things. You've like unlocked memories too. It's like, oh crap, I remember that. That's crazy. So you guys are doing your thing. It's working.
It's always nice, like TDK said, to remember a little bit about your accomplishments and what you're doing and what you've done in the past. Ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys, right? Some awesome peaks for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure more to come. Because I
More
mean,
to come,
as long
for
as you
sure.
keep doing the thing, preparation's always there. So the opportunity just show up and that's it.
All right, guys, from the Double Arcade, thanks again. We will see you next time. Peace out.
See you guys.
Hey everybody, it's Ray here. Just wanted to thank you for tuning into the Dire Pass Level podcast. If you want to hang out and join us for the next episode, make sure to like and subscribe. That way you're notified when our next episode releases. If you really liked it, you'd do us a solid if you left us a review. Reviews are a great way to spread the word about our podcast, and the more gamers to share these stories with, the better. All right, we'll see you next week. Have a good one. There we go.